Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Rose Gardner, and the goals of the National Radioactive Waste Coalition are especially important to me. As a resident of Eunice, New Mexico, I live 5 miles from Waste Control Specialists, Interim Storage Partners, which has recently received their license from the NRC for storing high-level nuclear waste from commercial reactors. I have maintained my opposition against storage of nuclear waste, both low and high level, at Waste Control Specialists for many years. At this point in New Mexico, we have another company by the name of Holtec International that is awaiting the same license to store high-level commercial irradiated waste. It's important to note that the Texas governor has opposed the storage of high-level nuclear waste in Texas and has instructed the regulators in the state to not allow permits to be issued to the facility. The New Mexico governor and land commissioner are opposed to licensing Holtec. Several communities in New Mexico have passed resolutions against Holtec. Although Holtec has not been licensed, the Attorney General for New Mexico filed a suit with a 51-page complaint. My understanding is that there are legislators working on a bill that would somewhat limit the issuance of permits in New Mexico, as well as to create a task force to oversee a project like this. I would like to point out that in these situations I've described in New Mexico and Texas, there has never been any consent from the public to store commercial irradiated waste in their states. These projects come by way of business leaders and local governments that seek to expand the job base. What they are missing is the consent of the public, especially related to nuclear waste and or nuclear power generation. New Mexico is home to hundreds of abandoned uranium mines. We are home to laboratories that create bombs. We're home to bombed areas that created downwind fallout during nuclear testing. We're home to WIPP, the Waste Isolation Pilot Plant, a more than 2,000 feet deep underground repository the weapons making waste. A reminder, in 2014, WIPP had an underground fire and a major leak of radioactive material. The breach has cost billions to attempt to remedy and is still not fully repaired. Then comes Holtec with their plan to create below surface storage in New Mexico to store all of the irradiated commercial waste in America. Waste Control Specialist Interim Storage Partners in Texas plan for 40,000 metric tons of commercial irradiated waste. That would mean I'd have a nuclear dump 5 miles from my home and then a nuclear dump 35 miles from my home. This will result in constant irradiated fuel transport through my town and family members that live near the railroad and the Texas-New Mexico state line. I consider that a grave environmental injustice to my community, to my family, and to this non-consenting state. New Mexico is home to one of the biggest oil extraction industry areas in the country. Our job is to supply oil and natural gas to you so that you can get around and do the business of running this country. There are many oil-related industries in the area of Holtec International, which is sited between Carlsbad and Hobbs, New Mexico. The oil and gas industry is a very important part of this state, as well as the potash industry, which surrounds the Holtec International site. And the state owns the mineral rights under the Holtec International site. With the oil and gas industry being all around me, I believe that it is a polluting industry, and that, coupled with the other history of uranium extraction and nuclear projects in New Mexico should be considered an environmental injustice. Thanks very much.